In 1968, Pope Paul VI issued a letter, an encyclical letter titled Humanae Vitae. That means human life in Latin. Paragraph 14 of that letter says that contraception is any action which in anticipation of the conjugal act, which is sexual intercourse, or in its accomplishment, or in the development of its natural consequences, proposes whether as an end or as a means to render procreation impossible. From this short quote, we can tell that that letter was aimed at addressing the issue of contraception. Hello and welcome to Catholic Fit Forum. My name is Chima, and with me to discuss this wonderful issue, wonderful because you will get to find out why it is wonderful, I have with me Nonso. Say hi.
Hi.
What happened now? You sound...
Nothing. I'm just excited to be here. I want to know more about contraception and usage of contraceptives. I want to know.
All right. And with us to trash out this issue, we have a seasoned veteran lawyer and a family planning apostle. I call her an apostle because she's doing the work of Christ. Her name is Mrs. Tonya Ezeokeke. You're welcome very much, ma.
Thank you very much.
We're very happy
Welcome,
to be here, and we hope to learn more from you on this topic. So stay with us, guys. We're going to talk more on contraception when we return.
Catholic Faith Forum on TV.
Welcome back to the show, guys. It's lovely having you guys here as we discuss on this issue of contraception with our mommy, who actually has been a lawyer for 32 years. And we're talking again on the issue of contraceptives. We would like to know you more, ma. How long have you been married and how many children do you have?
I have been married 24 years now, and I have a daughter who is 22.
Interesting. That's a lovely one, ma. And you've been an apostle of family planning for how long again?
I have been in the apostolate for the past 13 years.
Wow.
And family planning in the last 4 years.
Wow, interesting. So what does this entail? What does your job entail, ma? What do you teach people in this apostolate? Yes.
It's really wide range course. In our parish, we do it for 12 weeks.
Wow.
You know, ranging from the topical issues, the problems that confront married people, the issues of sex, the problem of money, you know.
Very important.
Yes, you know, the management of it, and
yes.
In the marriage, because when there's no money,
there's always
maybe the love will work. So, and so many things. What basically, because you find out that many people come into marriage with a lot of notion, but you know, when they come into the class, they begin to do away with those preconceived notions.
What are some of those notions?
Exactly.
People come in and say, as a married man, when I give you an example, they say, as a married man, you don't let a woman know how much you have.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people come, even women. You cannot disclose everything you have. What or when I want to give my family?
So what's wrong with, that particular notion exactly? What's wrong with that?
Marriage is a union of two people, you know, working as one. That means that, you know, you should, as much as possible, disclose to one another what you do. You know, giving things to the girl's family, the boy's family, they're all good, but two of you would know. And then when you plan together, then you find that your resources will go further.
But when disclosing, do I have to tell everything?
Yes, that's what you're expected to do in a marriage. You tell everything.
What about what I tell? What if I tell you some things and then it causes us to fight?
Why everything with regards to how much money you're making?
Not just
money. I mean money, everything in marriage.
Other thing.
Every other thing.
I don't know. I would say there are some information that are not very important.
Okay.
Because let me give you an example. Some people have what I term useless experiences. You don't bring those useless experiences into your marriage.
Like what?
What do I mean by useless? For instance, some boys will ask the girl, how many people have you slept with? How many people have you slept with? It's a useless experience. Why bring it into your new home? I don't advise a girl to go telling, oh, I have slept with so people. It's not going to help you. Coming to what you said, that's what could bring problem into your marriage. So you don't go talking about that. We're talking about things that will help build. Like, what is your income? What do you make? Your wife, many men, you find that their wives don't know what they make. And it creates his own problem. What happens? The woman will say, I want this, I want this. That. The list is endless. But because she thinks your money too
it's endless.
Does not end.
You have a tree somewhere.
Yes. So unless she has an idea that this is how much you make, then she knows that she has to limit the demands. But these days, men and women are working.
Yes.
So you have to pool resources
together.
So that if you're going to give, because there's no need to duplicate. You want to give money to your mother or your father. There's no point after you have given, he comes to give your mother again. So, but if you pull your resources together, you can now decide, okay, for our mom, this. We're going to give this. For our mom on this side, we'll give this. So it's a family.
I'm happy you mentioned the issue of sex, because this is where contraceptives come in. I once read an article somewhere that says that the main reason why people use contraceptive methods is to enjoy sex without responsibility. So what exactly is the teaching of the Catholic Church on this matter?
Contraceptives, the way the world understands it, is a no-no for the Catholic Church.
What is the way the world understands it?
The way the world understands it is when you talk about now, if I say, mention 2 contraceptives that you know. I know readily people will mention condom, will mention pills, maybe IUD, injectables, those kind of things.
But then they say contraceptives helps control population. And then some say it prevents you from sexual transmitted diseases. What do you have to say about that? Like, what if I use it because I want to control my control the population
by the number of
children I give birth to, and then prevent STD?
Okay. Well, the fact is, there are other means. You see, the church presents alternatives. That's what the Catholic Church does. Okay. It gives you the alternative. If the world is saying, yes, use condom, do this, the church is saying you can do the same thing, achieve the same result using other means.
Like what?
The means God has put into our body. When we look at this, the issue of contraceptives, why the church is against it is that basically the church is against anything that will interfere with nature.
That is a natural law.
Yes, the nature, the way God has. You're having sex with your wife. The church expects you to have sex to its conclusion.
Which is procreation.
Sorry,
no, it doesn't mean that every time you have sex,
you do it to procreate.
No, you would have a baby.
Okay.
You could even have the intention to procreate, and it doesn't happen. You understand?
Yes.
So you find out that if we go back to the Bible, the first time the issue of interfering with nature is in the Bible. If we go back to Genesis 38, verse 1 to 10, we find out that is where God, showed the first dislike for interrupting nature.
Interesting.
That is the practice of onanism.
What's that?
Yes. Onanism is what you will ordinarily call coitus interruptus. That is withdrawal.
Okay, so you mean I'm not using contraceptives now, but then he withdraws, or when you're having conjugation and then he withdraws?
It's also a means of controlling birth. The church, God frowns with it, frowns about it, because that's what the Bible says. In that story, you find out that Onan, who is the second son of Judah, was supposed to procreate for his late brother Er. Then he now said he didn't want to do it. He married her, but he didn't want to produce children for his late brother.
brother.
So he said, I know what I will do. I'm going to go into her and then I will pour it out. He did that, and God was angry with him and killed him.
Wow.
Don't you think God was angry because he disobeyed?
No, he didn't disobey. He didn't disobey because he actually took on the woman, but he didn't want to have... It's his father who told him to marry the woman and produce children, because that is the culture of his people. Even in Africa here, there are some cultures like that, where you're expected to have children for a late person. So that is their culture. His father said, go ahead and do that. But he didn't want to do that. He felt, no, okay, I would do what they have said, but I'm not going to produce children for my brother. I'm going to withdraw. So
what are the issues that the church has with these methods, all these contraceptive methods and all of that?
Yeah.
You know, stopping pregnancy, the issue the church has, like I have said, is the church is against anything that is unnatural. Like I said, gave that example. There's nothing used in this withdrawal now. Nothing added.
Yeah.
But it's also unnatural. The church frowns at it.
As it's artificial.
Yes. But there are natural ones too, that you don't use anything, and the church supports. For instance, abstinence. You don't use anything, but the church supports it.
It's quite hard.
Let's hold that thought. Hold that thought. We have to take some opinions from the streets. And when we come back, we'll learn more about these natural methods, and we'll also discuss what people have to say. Stick with us.
Catholic Faith Forum.
Contraceptive is a sin. The church preach against it. And since the church preach against it, we should also fight against it with all we've got to fight against it. If we go health-wise, there are 1,001 points to give against it. And if we go religious-wise, there are 1,001 points to go to actually back up my claims that it is a sin. So, and I don't think I have that much time to really speak on it, but I would say that it is a sin, and as such should be avoided at every point in time for everyone.
Catholic Faith Forum.
Understanding yourself, your system. So know when you are ovulating, then when you are to meet and when you are not to meet. But using contraceptives, injection, all those tablets is a sin.
Catholic Faith Forum.
Using contraceptive is biblically a sin, because God himself, even in the book of Genesis, one of the men, I think grandsons of Lamech, he pulled out of his wife and God killed him for that. So by so doing, God created family for procreation, so he must support the creation by getting married and support procreation. But if you are using contraceptive, the sperms given to you could be a million. I'm a medical practitioner, but it's being counted by God, even the hairs on our head. So you cannot tell God he is stupid for giving you the spermatozoon. So once you use contraceptive, which is human and not natural, for sure, according to the biblical injunction, it is not right. And what is not right in the biblical injunction is a sin. Especially as Catholics, we look to understand that one. But the world these days look at it as a free will thing to do. So you can't blame anybody. They say it's a free will, but everybody has answers to give to God.
Catholic Faith Forum.
So it's okay for us to use contraceptives?
Yeah, very okay.
Okay, I'm thinking with contraceptives, it will increase the urge to commit adultery, or now, which is what like the church is trying to fight against, adultery and all the rest. So when you have the feeling, okay, I have contraceptives, no pregnancy, no sexual disease and all the rest, you feel.
But you agree with me that having sex before marriage is a sin?
Yes, we all know.
And then the use of contraceptives?
It's AIDS sin.
It's AIDS sin. So you agree it's a sin? The use of contraceptives is a sin?
Not the use itself, what is used for. As they say, the end justifies the means. They can't say use it, you can't use it without you doing it.
Catholic Faith Forum.
is a no-go area. I know most people will say it's a good thing. Most people will say it helps family planning, whatever. But for me, I don't think it helps. That's if you seek for my opinion, it doesn't. Because it encourages immorality. It encourages sex. That's what I see.
Even for married couples.
Why will a married couple use contraceptive? Why? With all the natural disaster we've got in the country, with the tsunami in the world, with the Boko Haram killing people, why would people be having family planning? We need all the children we can get. Yes.
Catholic Faith Forum.
You are doing something against God's will. The natural way of doing it, you are tampering with it already. That's my opinion.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't support it anyway. I don't support it. Maybe because of the doctrine. I belong to the same Catholic faith. So we are not encouraged to do such. There are other methods you can use.
Other methods like?
Natural method by knowing your ovulation period.
Okay, so use of contraceptives, married or unmarried, it's a sin.
For the fact that you are not married, you cannot even use it. You shouldn't even. So if you are married, meet with your spouse, talk together. Okay, this is my ovulation period. You know that you can, if you want to. There are different ways you can both do it.
Catholic Faith Forum on TV.
Welcome back to Catholic Faith Forum. That was a really, really eye-opening session, and we could see that a lot of people were strongly against it. A lot of people were indifferent, and a lot of people did not even know what it meant from what we saw on the streets. Now, I would like to ask you, Ma, from those opinions, especially from those who mentioned natural family planning. I know you've spoken to us about the artificial ones, that's the condoms and the onanism, the coitus interruptus, and all of that. They mentioned a lot of something about knowing their ovulation. Are there other methods apart from just this in natural family planning?
Natural family planning is a wide range. It's not just one method.
Wow.
One of it is what one of them mentioned at the street, when we went to the street. She was talking about knowing your ovulation period. That is actually the rhythm or the calendar method.
Wow.
Okay.
That's the one that looks at your ovulation period.
Mama, what about those women that have irregular menstruation?
Yes, there are other methods too that you can key into and which is very helpful.
Like what?
Actually, in the archdiocese here, the Lagos Archdiocese is teaching Billings method. One of them mentioned Billings method. Billings method was started by H. Billings. He started his research in, I think, about the 50s, and then some people joined him in the 60s, and in the 70s, they tried it in Europe, and he's been on, you know.
So
what
does it
Billings
entail
method
exactly?
entails is that you look at the woman looks at the body signs. Her body signs will tell what her fertile condition is. There are different body signs in a woman every single day. There's a body sign. How do we get that body sign? We get it from when after urination, you wipe. And then you look at what are you seeing. Actually, what you're trying to find is the mucor. We know what is mucor. The mucor, if you find the mucor sign, which is, that's the most fertile sign of a woman's body. Even in the traditional setting, a lot of women in the village who didn't even know Billings method used a lot of those things. When they walk,
So
they can feel it.
without
Yes,
knowing
without
it.
knowing it. They will feel that slipperiness, which is what, tells you that I am near my fertile time.
Wow.
Okay.
And then they can avoid having sex at that time if they don't want to have children.
Interesting.
Or if they want to achieve pregnancy, that is when to have sex.
Wow. Okay, so do these body signs vary from woman to woman?
Their basic is not the same, you see. It varies in the sense that it takes into cognizance a woman's cycle. And every woman's cycle is not the same. Even for the same woman, her cycle varies from month to month. So that's why you look at it. You have to. I have a book which was written by Dr. McSweeney, who has worked in Nigeria for over 50 years, Love and Life. That's actually the tool for Billings method.
Interesting.
And it's very readable. There are also VCDs that she has. It's something you can study on your own, and then you'll be able to do it. The beautiful thing is that this goes even to the point of pre-selection of
your
sex.
child's sex.
Yes.
How did they do that?
Yes. It's also, first of all, if you know your body signs, you have to, you chat. There's what they call the chatting. You have to chat what you have seen every single day.
I want to say something like, I believe science and nature they don't work really like that hand in hand, because sometimes they might vary. And then your natural system, I think everybody has different systems. So a woman's, it might work for some, it might not work for some.
It works for everybody.
What about those? Those that have irregular menses, it might not work for them.
Yes, it's also that's where if you do your chatting, you will actually see it and know, oh, my period is irregular.
And then sometimes you see
that.
that.
And then you will know when you can meet, because it tells you the story.
But sometimes there's some signs you get, and eventually you're not even ovulating. You're not in your fertile period, and you're just having that sign, and then it's stopping you from actually doing what you want to do, because you're having that sign. Because I'm getting these signs, I feel I'm ovulating.
I've heard stories about women who thought they were not ovulating, eventually ending up getting pregnant.
No, and first of all, it's because they do not understand Billings. Billings is 98% to 99% accurate. So if you know your body sign, unless you're not reading your body sign properly, that's why your own body sign is what you're looking at, not what the book says. Okay. So what your body is telling you is what you're looking at. And you're using what your own body says to take your decisions, not what the book says you should do.
Oh, so you're telling us to pay attention to ourselves, because most youth now, I don't know.
Most people don't pay attention.
Yes.
You know, even before I went into it, I wish I knew a lot about Billings before I got married. Because it's not like I knew it a long time ago. A lot of us have made mistakes along the line because a lot of things we didn't know. Okay. So I am really happy for you young people who are getting to get this knowledge this early. You won't waste your time. You would be able to achieve pregnancy when you want to achieve pregnancy.
Which means that it is something that we're telling our young people that you need, if you want to have sex, you have to wait till you're married so that you can prevent yourself from going the wrong way by using the artificial contraceptive methods, which is heavily frowned upon. But Ma, I want to ask, these artificial contraceptions, what are their side effects, if any? Because I'm sure the church cannot frown upon them if they don't have any form of effect on the body. What are their side effects?
There are varied side effects, you know, ranging from actually, some of them will stop a woman's period entirely.
Wow.
But I read an article lately, and they're like, contraceptives are not dead pills. They don't do anything to you, so I don't know.
Well, no, it's not correct. If anybody tells you, every medication, you know, medication is poison. Yes. That's why you're told not to abuse medication. Because it's an external thing you are introducing into your system. That's why people who use natural herbs, you know, when you see supplements are selling, because why? They say it's from nature, it's not medicine. So you find out that every medication, if you have been on pills, you find out that after a long time, your period will even cease, or it will change drastically.
Wow.
Maybe you find out that you'll be menstruating maybe like 2 days or something. And then there are many things it causes. It could cause prolonged bleeding in a woman. Not just the pill, different forms of artificial family planning.
Like, can you give us examples?
Different ones.
Yes.
You have the injectables. They are the ones they take injections every 3 months or 6 months.
And what is the side effect of that,
That
one?
one.
That is part of, it could also, if you have, one important thing is that if you have a compromised organs, you shouldn't even go near any of these artificial contraceptives, because it will help. For instance, if your kidney is compromised, it will damage it.
Wow.
Totally. Liver, people have come up, there are many things, you know, those things cause. It also causes what they call, it could cause stroke. How does that happen?
Wow.
For instance, you know, blood clots. It produces blood clots, which eventually can travel to certain parts of your brain and then cause you to have stroke.
Interesting.
So there are many side effects. But you know, pharmaceutical companies and all these companies
paint
bringing out
them
these
so
they'll
so
give
that
you
they
a
can
beautiful
make
picture so
profit.
that, of course, the bottom line is what they are interested in.
Gaining.
Interesting.
Yes.
Getting money.
Wow. So we've seen that all these things are actually quite dangerous, because the church we know and believe in does not frown on something that will not cause harm to the human body, as we have seen. And we've been very privileged to have our mommy, Mrs. Tonya Ezeokeke, give us our insights on this topic. We want to encourage young people out there, stay away from sex outside marriage, because it will lead you to think about contraceptives, and this could cause you a lot of harm. My name is Chima.
And I'm also, I advise our young couples to embrace the natural method of contraceptive, not the artificial. Don't use, you know now, shit, condom and all that. And I learned a lot from our mommy here.
Yes, ma,
I'm
we
very
did
happy
learn
I
a
was
lot,
here
ma.
today.
Thank you very much, ma, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.